Top of Mount Party, it's midday. Hello and welcome to the news at noon on GRACE95.5 FM, Lokoja, Nigeria. The top stories. NRC cancels resumption of train services on Abuja-Kaduna route. EFCC releases former Speaker Patricia Ete. On the foreign scene, millions of Australians vote in hard-fought election. Details and more coming shortly. Do stay tuned.
Objective, informative, direct, up to the minute. Grace 95.5 FM News.
Many thanks for joining us. I am Catherine Odok with the news. But don't forget, we're streaming this news live via our website, grace955fm.com. And now the news in full. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, on Friday suspended the resumption of train services on the Abuja-Kaduna route amid pressure from families of victims abducted by terrorists. Gunmen heard on March 28th used explosives to kill 9 passengers and injured others, while kidnapping about 50 victims. The NRC suspended operations on the route indefinitely. However, the corporation announced earlier in the week that it will resume services on May 23rd, a situation that did not augur well with the victims' families who threatened to disrupt operations. But in a statement issued by the NRC spokesman Yakub Mahmood, the agency said a new date would be announced soonest. While apologizing for the delay in resumption of train services, Mahmood assured the distraught families that it was working hard to secure the victims' release. Meanwhile, the Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal on Friday shed more light on the circumstances leading to the killing of Deborah Samuel, saying the mob overpowered the security agents. Tambuwal disclosed that, contrary to a general view, operative of the Department of State Services (DSS) tried but could not save the late 200-level student of the Shehu Shagari College of Education. Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal briefed reporters in Delta State on May 20th, 2022. The governor also debunked reports that security operatives did not respond to the emergency situation in the institution. When asked whether Sokoto is safer for a visit, the governor explained that normalcy is gradually returning to the northwestern state. His administration, he assured, will ensure that justice is served with the killers prosecuted. Still on the news, Vice President Professor Yemi Osibajo has said he has acquired the experience, understanding and knowledge to hit the ground running from day one if he becomes the country's president. Osibajo stated this on Friday in Oshogbo, Osun State, while addressing party delegates as part of his national consultation visit ahead of the All Progressive Congress APC presidential primary election. He said although it takes 1.5 or 2 years for a new person in government to understand the system and start to perform, in his own case, the almost 8 years spent as vice president has positioned him to start working from day one. Osibajo is promising to hit the ground running if elected Nigeria's president. Professor Osibajo acknowledged the achievement of Governor Gboyega Oyetola, the progressive nature of members of the APC in the state, and the struggle to ensure that the Osun state was being governed by the party. Speaking during the event, Governor Oyetola, who was represented by his deputy, Benedict Alabi, appreciated Osibajo for his visit and the recognition of the works and achievement of the administration. Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Friday met with delegates of the All Progressive Congress APC in Imo State behind closed doors as part of consultations for his 2023 presidential bid. In an interview with newsmen in Owerri shortly after the meeting, the Vice President said the 2023 general elections were crucial to the future of the country. The Vice President said he had a fruitful deliberation with the delegates on some critical issues that concern the economy and the future of the country. The Vice President was earlier received by Governor Hope Uzodimma at the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport. Osinbajo had also paid a courtesy visit to the chairman, Igbo Council of Traditional Rulers, AZ, Emmanuel Okeke. Moving on, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has released the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mrs. Patricia Ete, who is arrested over an allegation of fraud. Spokesperson of the EFCC, Mr. Wilson Uwajaren, announced her release in a statement on Saturday. Mrs. Ete was released on Friday, 3 days after her arrest, upon fulfilling bail conditions offered her by investigators working on her matter, the statement said. The former speaker was arrested and detained by the Commission on Tuesday on suspicious and shady financial involvement with Philgene Project Limited. She was elected Speaker in 2007, but resigned only after a few months amid allegations of financial misappropriation. She is the only woman in the country's history to have been elected Speaker. Meanwhile, presidential aide Garba Shehu has refuted claims that his principal pays less attention to victims of attacks in the country. He spoke on Friday while responding to debates generated following President Muhammad Buhari's condolence visit to the United Arab Emirates over the death of the country's president, Sheikh Khalifa bin Yazid Al Nahyan. Buhari is expected back to the country this weekend. In a related development, the presidency says negotiations are ongoing to rescue those abducted on the Kaduna-Abuja Troll line earlier in the year. Presidential aide Garba Shehu said this on Friday while reacting to the suspension of resumption of operations of the rail track. He explained that the government is committed to ensuring that those affected by the attack and still in captivity will be released alive, even though the negotiations might be difficult. This Kaduna-bound train was attacked by armed gangs on March 28, 2022. Mr. Shehu said the government wants normalcy. On to legal matters, Lagos High Court sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square of Lagos Island on Friday sentenced to death by hanging a Danish man, Peter Nielsen, accused of killing his Nigerian wife Zainab and his 3-year-and-a-half-year-old daughter. In a judgment that lasted over 5 hours, Justice Bolanle Okikiolu Igile found Nielsen guilty of 2 counts of murder, contrary to Section 223 of the Criminal Laws of Lagos 2015. The Lagos state government had accused Nielsen, then 53, of smothering the two to death on April 5, 2018, at about 3:45 a.m. at their Banana Island residence in the Ikoyi area of the state. At his arraignment on June 13, 2018, Nielsen pleaded not guilty to the count of murder, following which trial commenced. In her judgment, Justice Okikiolu Igile said she relied on the post-mortem examination carried out by the consultant's pathologist, Professor John Obafunwa, on the deceased persons. His examination has suggested that Zainab was killed when her nose and mouth were firstly closed, which deprived her of oxygen.
News is long gone.
I will go straight to the foreign news. foreign scene, Australians are voting in an election that will decide the country's primary minister and ruling party. Polls predict a tight race between incumbent PM Scott Morrison from the Liberal International Coalition and Labour leader Anthony Albanese. The election will likely be a referendum on Morrison, who has led Australia through a pandemic and natural disasters. Albanese is campaigning for change, and the rising cost of living and climate change have dominated as two key issues for voters. But independents and minor parties could also see a boost because of public dissatisfaction with the two major parties. Finally, in the world of sport, Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has won the Italian Serie A Most Valuable Player MVP for under-23 footballers. The Napoli hitman beat Juventus striker Dusan Vlahovic and AC Milan's Rafael Leao to the prize, which was announced on Friday evening. Osimhen, 23, was out for 2 months due to official injury, but managed 14 league goals in 26 games for Napoli, who are set to finish the season under review in third spot. 4 out of his 18 goals in 31 games in all competitions were scored in Napoli's Europa League campaign. The Nigerian's future has been a subject of brief speculation for months. Reports are linking him away from the Italian side, whom he joined in 2020 for a club and African record fee of £81.3 million. He has been linked to several sides including Arsenal, Manchester United, and lately Newcastle United. And now to end Grace 95.5 FM News, a quick look at our top stories. We told you that the Nigerian Railway Corporation NRC on Friday suspended the resumption of train services on the Abuja-Kaduna route amid pressure from families of victims abducted by terrorists. We also brought to your notice that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has released the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mrs. Patricia Ete, who is arrested over an allegation of fraud. And on the foreign scene, Australians are voting in an election that will decide the country's Prime Minister and ruling party. And that's the size of our news at noon. On behalf of the DT editor, Olatunde Odimayo, many thanks for listening. I am Catherine Odok. To have an amazing weekend. Bye for now.